We were just talking about the end of the second day and the third and final day of the battle. Just to give you a perspective, a moment ago I think we spoke to you from Little Round Top. That's Little Round Top up there. That's where we were filming a moment ago. You can see the monument to the New York Infantry there and below it. So you get two different perspectives. One, what it's like to be a defender if you're up there. This is the view you would have if you were the Confederacy, charging up that hill. Okay. Now we asked when we were up there, why would General Sickles abandon that position to come down here? It doesn't make any sense. That seems to be so defendable as a fortress. But if you look out, you can see what he was thinking. Why not come down here? And this is still a pretty good position. Those trees probably wouldn't have been here, and the Confederate forces would have had to come out from these different positions, and you could still attack them, right? And if you had to retreat, you can go back. The weakness which Meade saw is while you're down here, there's no one over there, and the Confederate forces are everywhere, and someone could take up that position, and then you could be caught in a trap. You could have Confederate forces coming this way and have Confederates shooting down you from there, and you would be very vulnerable down in this position. So ultimately you couldn't hold it anyway because they're just so overwhelmed, and they had to push back. But the third day tactic is how the Battle of Gettysburg ends, and this is what we were talking about a moment ago. Robert E. Lee has a choice. After 2 days, he feels we made progress each day. Right, we're gaining more and more ground, and maybe with one more big push, we could break through the Union lines. And so he tries to break through at the center of the Union lines, and the famous Pickett's Charge. Right? General Longstreet goes on record as saying he thinks it's a bad idea. He was against the attacking of Gettysburg as a whole. He thought they should move, maybe feign an attack on Harrisburg or Philadelphia, and then Meade would have been forced to draw off and leave Gettysburg and go after him to try to protect Philadelphia and Harrisburg. And then they could have chosen a battlefield and had the defensive position and let the Union attack. But it happened here, and rather than have all those soldiers who died on the first and second day be considered a waste, he tries a third time to succeed here. The plan might have worked if they had gotten started earlier. He wanted the attack to start at 10 a.m., but Longstreet and his men don't get here until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is later. You get, again, in terms of time, of course, this was the summer, the days were longer, but they're losing daylight. And so that is going against them as well. So what do you think about Lee's strategy on the third day?
It was
and Meade's strategy on the third day. Big gamble?
Huge.
So Lee's a gambler. Okay? That's one of his qualities. Usually he wins, sometimes he loses.
If it would have worked, it would have been amazing, brilliant, but because it didn't, it wasn't such a good idea.
Well, Lee, it paid off for him in the past, right? He came off 2 victories at Fredericksburg and at Chancellorsville, right? Chancellorsville was up against overwhelming odds, and he divides his forces, right? I mean, they have more soldiers than you, and then he divides his army to do a pronged attack, and it wins. So that's a gamble, right? And it paid off. So he gambles there at Gettysburg, and it doesn't pay off, right? One of the worst kind of slaughters over the wheat field, which is across these trees. I don't think we'll have time to get there today, but across these trees is where Pickett and the other assistant generals tried in vain to break through the Union lines here. Robert E. Lee, towards the end of his life, although he took responsibility for the failure at Gettysburg, always thought it was still a good plan, and always said that his men fought well. So he didn't have he didn't blame anyone. He didn't blame Pickett either. But he said what was different about Gettysburg was the Union's soldiers fought back and they held positions.
Did he ever indicate that Gettysburg was or wasn't his goal of the battle day?
He always acknowledged it wasn't his goal, right? The only reason they chose Gettysburg is he wanted this to be somewhat of a surprise attack. I mean, how could you surprise 75,000 men invading the North, right? But he broke his army into 3 parts. So you wouldn't know it's a full-scale invasion or how large his army was until the last minute, right? So this is how he invaded Pennsylvania. The danger with that is if you do encounter the full Army of the Potomac, they could destroy any 1/3 of those forces. So he wanted to put his army back together now, right? And to maybe do it at a good location like this, because we're only a few minutes from Harrisburg, right? So if he reassembled his army here and then attack Harrisburg in force, right? And looking at a map, there are about 10 roads that converge in Gettysburg. So this is why it's a good road. And this is what Buford recognized as well, right? That this is a good place to organize, and this is why we should hold it, right? Any other thoughts about what happened here, Gettysburg? You know, so he fails at the end of the third day, and the fourth day is July 4th, and it's raining. And he's waiting for Meade to counterattack. He's like, well, now we're vulnerable. I'm low on ammunition. We've lost men. Why doesn't he counterattack? And he's now at full strength. So why doesn't he counterattack? And this is what he's expecting. So he's waiting for a counterattack that never comes. When it doesn't come on the fourth day, on the fifth, he starts to retreat back to Virginia. Right? Meade is so startled. He doesn't know, is he going to attack us again, or is he waiting for us to attack? And he pursues very cautiously, and Lee is able to sneak back into West Virginia. Lincoln publicly claims Gettysburg as a victory. We've repelled the Confederate forces again, but privately he's very disappointed with General Meade because he thought the war could have ended here at Gettysburg in 1863 if you had gone after him and defeated him. Okay. Any other thoughts?
I just want to mention that these two battles right here were the bloodiest battles pretty much out here in Gettysburg. And there's actually a creek that runs right through here, and it's about maybe 3 feet deep, and it was actually filled with blood by the third morning. So wow. It was that bad.
The creek ran red.
It literally did. It's actually called Bloody Run now. It was called Plum Run before. So.
Yeah, and there were so many casualties. We're going to go to the cemetery now that they were burying the dead for weeks. And not only the dead, but there were at least 5,000 dead horses, mules, cows. And this is why the cemetery had to be created. That's what we're going to see in just a moment.